This is Support is Sexy, episode 236, with Ashleigh Blatt, host of Mompreneur on Fire. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I interview inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and their lessons to help you take your business and your life to the next level and create something sexy. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm so excited to have you here. It just would not be the same without you. And today's episode is brought to you by Chic Rebellion Media. If you're looking to create content that truly connects with your audience, or you're ready to tell your story in a unique way that truly represents you and your brand, go to chicrebellionmedia.com to find out more. That's CHIC rebellionmedia.com. On today's episode, I'm excited to tell you about Ashleigh Blatt, who's our guest today. And what I love about what Ashleigh is doing is she is really spreading the message that we have to be willing to evolve as our lives change and to, if necessary, be able to move beyond our businesses or separate from our businesses or start new businesses as our lives change. And in this episode, she is really very open about that experience of what she went through after building a 7-figure business and then walking away to have a family and do some other things in her life at that time, and how difficult that can be when you really have your identity to some degree wrapped up in the business that you create. A lot of us, we're very passionate about our business. Our business is our baby in a lot of different ways because we've created it and we put a lot of energy and effort into it. So sometimes it is hard to walk away. So in this episode, Ashleigh shares that with us, but she also talks about why our business desires do evolve as we evolve, maximizing your skill set within a partnership, how to smartly upsell your customers, and the importance of getting to that third customer. The first and the second, she says, are the hardest to get. Just get to that third customer. Also, getting over the quote-unquote hustle and the quote-unquote BS of the work-life balance. Why you have to celebrate the small wins and have an accomplishment practice. And also the value of having multiple revenue streams, which we all certainly want. All right, so I know you're going to enjoy this episode. It's a quick one, but full of great insight. So without further ado, Ashleigh Blatt. So Ashleigh, thank you so much for joining us for an episode of Support is Sexy. I'm excited to talk to you finally.
Oh, I'm so excited to talk with you.
Excellent. So first question, when did you first fall in love with entrepreneurship?
Oh my goodness. I had my first sales pitch when I was 6 years old. So I think I was born and bred to be an entrepreneur for sure.
What was your first sales pitch? I know your parents were both entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah, exactly. So my parents had a store, and anytime like a customer would come into the store, then I would have to, hide, if you will, in the office. And on my way, I heard the bell, ran back to the office, and I ran right into the customer, and I was like, "Oh, hi, how may I help you?" And then I told her, "Here, looking for some carpet. My parents had a carpet store, and hi, we're here looking for some carpet." And I was like, "Well, that's perfect timing. We're having our anniversary sale."
And is this all from stuff you observed, or were you making this up as you went along?
It must have been, I'm sure I observed it from my parents, I'm sure. As a 6-year-old, you're like, welcome.
Oh my gosh, that's adorable. Now, where did you grow up?
I grew up on the East Coast in upstate New York. We lived in New Hampshire for a little bit. And then basically from high school through most of my early 30s, I was in Washington, D.C. And then about 7 years ago now, my husband and I moved to Southern California.
Oh, West Coast.
So we went from East Coast to left coast. It's totally crazy.
Now, growing up around entrepreneurs, did you always know, or did you have a feeling at least at that time that you wanted to be an entrepreneur or a business owner when you grew up? Or did you have other ideas?
I think it was just born and instilled in me because I had my first job when I had to wait until it was legal to have my first job. And then in my first job at 15, I created my own little side hustle. So it wasn't like I want to be an entrepreneur. It was just something I did to make extra cash. I found an opportunity to bring in extra money. And then, of course I did the traditional. So I always had jobs. And then after college, I got my first kind of big business job, in a corporation.
What did you study?
And I studied international business because I love people and I love the culture of people, and I love celebrating all our different ways, how similar we are, yet how different we are, and how do you connect with other people. And then out of college, I got I worked with KPMG, which was a big consulting firm. I think still is. And then after that, I immediately went and did work with when I was in DC with the government. And while we did really great work, I never felt God being one of many thousand,
And, you mean impact-wise? Sorry to interrupt. Do you mean impact-wise when you say you didn't feel good at being one?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I just felt in my department, in my organization, with my customers, I always, did well and was well received and well liked and produced quality work, of course. But I just felt to my company that I was working with, I was a number. And I was raised, no way am I that, And so I went out and had, I don't know if this is officially my first company. I left that when I was, I think 26 or 27 to officially go out on my own. I officially went out on my own with one partner, and we created a consulting firm. And that was just the best time of my life.
And is that since then you've been on your own, haven't been back into a full-time job, or have had a business, even if a full-time job also?
A traditional, I certainly at that point, that's when I gave up the fluorescent light life.
Right. Fluorescent light life. I love that. I'm going to remember that. That's a good one.
Exactly.
I'll give you credit, maybe twice. That's a good one. Now, how did your current position that you have, or your current business, I should say, that you have become that thing for you? Because I know you transitioned from the consulting partnership to creating your own business. Yeah.
So, business truly is an evolution. Just I'm not the same person I was when I'm 22 or 25 or even 32, so just I'm not the same person. My business and businesses have evolved. My first company, when we moved out here to California, I sold my part of my business to my partner. And I was ready to just take a break, and I was ready to have babies and do that. And my consulting business, within the first 18 months of our business, we were a 7-figure business, which was really exciting and really fun. But I was traveling 4 and 5 days a week. I was a traveling consultant. We were bringing on loads and teams of people. They were long hours, late nights, and it was super, super fun. But then, obviously when I had the children, I was like, I don't need this anymore. I just want to be at home. And then what happened was, I still had the bug. I still had the itch.
Entrepreneur,
the itch. It's natural. It's natural to me to want to do something additional. And I knew I wasn't going back to the fluorescent light life. I knew I couldn't travel like I was. So what was my business going to look like? And quite frankly, that's how and why I precisely started my own podcast, the Mompreneur on Fire podcast, because not only what were the other business options, but like, how do you do this and have children,
Right.
And not that I really looked at that. I was going to do that with another girlfriend and partners because I love connecting and collaborating with people. But it was like, I don't even know how you physically like do both, because both needs like so much energy. And my girlfriend was like, how are you going to make money? I'm like, I don't know.
Like, figure it out.
Let's just talk to these women and see what they're doing.
Now, was it difficult for you to sell the business, the consulting, your partnership in the consulting business? Like you said, you had grown it. How did you grow it to, in 18 months, you said a 7-figure business? Were you guys taking on big clients, or did you have a lot of clients, or what was your success in the partnership?
Yeah. So the partnership was awesome because we maximized our skill sets. My partner is amazing at like getting in the door and starting the conversation. And then my skill set is continuing the conversation and the work and the organization piece. So we were very successful just in finding each other. Our skill sets matched each other that way. Mm-hmm. Our business strategy was also that, and this is, two very specific things. One of which is have our customers, pay for not just the expertise of my skill set, but a team of people. Like, you make money by making money off of other people working. And so we were able to, fill a need, and then, work with our customers. The second point, and what I want to say is like, it's very hard to find your first customer and your second customer. It's hard to get in the door, but like, it's hard to find the customer. But once you have a customer, to me, it's part of my skill set is like keeping them happy and satisfied and getting them to love you and wanting to continue to work with you. And once you have that you can like build your practice with that. People are excited to work with you. Sure, we'll add on more services,
Mm-hmm.
And you're like,
so was it support services? Is that what you guys provided to people? Like business support services?
Yeah. We did implementation services for software. Enterprise portfolio management software. So people would call us and say, hey, I have an issue, and, like, can you help us out? And yes, I can help you, or I can help you to the extent that you're asking, or I can like really help you and we can get this up and running. Mm-hmm. And either way was, from providing tons of value and like showing that you're the expert in the field. And then they're just so energized, like, oh my gosh, you're going to solve all my problems for me. You're going to make this easy for me, which is what we did,
So when you built the business to be a success, as you did, then back to my original question. Sorry, I got us off track a little. Yeah, to know a little bit about. No,
good to keep me on track too.
No, that was me. I wanted to know more about the business itself. So then, to the point where you got it to be successful, then you get married and you're moving to California. You decide to sell a part of it. Your part of it. Was that difficult to do, or was that just your adjusting what life was about for you at that time?
Oh, that's a really great question. And the truth of the matter is it was heartbreaking. Mm. It was a place that like, I knew it wasn't a fit anymore. Mm-hmm. And like we moved to California. So it was it was needed and it was easy. There's no way I could have kept up the travel I did. Like while the entire time I was pregnant with my first daughter, I did that travel, and she like came early because it was safer, like all this stuff. And that was like really, it was a no-brainer, mm-hmm. but it was very like hard to kind of get to that decision and to, miss it. And there was like it was one of my babies that I did and I grew. And I think it's something that people don't talk about in business, that it is your baby, and there is heartbreak that comes along with that, for sure.
What would you advise anyone who sort of feels like whether they're selling a part of the business or closing down a business to start a family, or as you sort of mentioned, you just evolve beyond wanting to do that thing anymore? What would be your advice, having gone through it, for women listening who may be in that space of how to sort of come to terms with that?
Yeah. I think the piece for me was like, I had probably, you see that I'm slowing down on my talk because I got to process it, because it can still be hurtful now, but it's like, it's not my identity. I like, as that successful person, just because like, that isn't exactly who I am. That's not wrapped up in my identity, and like separating those two was hard for me, for sure. I mean, it brings up pain, and you're like,
thank you for sharing it.
Yeah. So I think like, that, just like if your house were to burn down, it's sad, and it's a part of your home and your life but really it's like your home, and it's a thing, just as a business is a thing. And you are a living, breathing person, that just needs to be treated as a different being.
That's right. Now, I know one of the things in your current company that you have now, and the work that you do now, one of your things is sort of speaking to what we just spoke about, this idea of sort of readjusting our mindset around this everyday I'm hustling thing, right? To become CEOs of our own lives. So tell us about the work that you do now, once you discover, what you're going to do as a business, and how you help entrepreneurs and people sort of become CEO of their lives. Yeah.
So what I do now, become CEO of your life, is, through the journey, right? Like when I'm breastfeeding my children in the middle of the night, I wasn't reading Us Weekly. I was reading like Fortune and Forbes, and I was still reading like the business things. And the thing, a real stickler for me, is that it's such a male kind of business world is such a male dominated world, but yet women are creating businesses at 6 times the rate of men are at this day. But like, and there's a thing, you can't do it all, or you can do it all, but not all at the same time, or you can't do it, or like, this is how you do it. And I'm just like, it's like men telling me like to have a 4-hour work week, and like, you're like no, like the thing, the fact of the matter is like, right? Like the fact of the matter is I have to do it all. I'm not going to give up this very natural entrepreneurial part of myself, right? That I love and I want, and for whatever reasons, like there's a reason that women are creating businesses now, right? And there's like, we need it, we want it, we strive for it, we see like this part of us here. And yet, like, I still have to, like, manage my household. I still have to raise my children. I still have to do drop off and pick up. And I still have to, it's all encompassing. It's not just the business, and it's just not my family, my friends, my community. I have to, like, figure out how to do it all. And I have to, like, be comfortable with that all. And I have to, forgive myself for my failings, like, celebrate the successes, like just be comfortable and be a CEO as a woman, not as a man.
Now, do you have support around all that? We're all about support around here. Do you have a support network that sort of helps you in different ways, whether personally or in your business, so that you're not doing it all alone?
Well, exactly. So, it's actually been, it's been a struggle to find the connection and the right connection with the women entrepreneurs. And it actually ties to something that I'm launching like literally next week. It's called the Project Spot, if it's okay to say.
Yes, of
called
course.
the Power Squad Project, which I envision as an email community for women entrepreneurs by women entrepreneurs that address like, what are the business trends that we should care about? Who are the other awesome women putting out amazing content and resources, and how I want to go to them. I want to support these women and who are doing it in this multifaceted life, right? And like, where's the lifestyle piece so that we can have that community and that support system?
Now that people can sign up for the Power Squad project on your website, right?
Yep.
I saw a pop up for it. Okay. So for everyone listening, if you're interested, I'll make sure, of course, we have links to everything and you can sign up and find out more about it. So you said you're launching it next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So part of that's sort of part of your overall mission of supporting women, especially just sort of have that support system there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what would you say then is that you offer to your clients as a first step to go from this idea of just hustling to figuring out, you say that work-life balance is BS. I love that. How do we sort of embrace that and let that go and just, as we talked about before become, CEO of our own lives, sort of figure out how to manage things in a way that works for each of us?
I think the first step, which I'm super passionate about, is giving credit where credit is due. And I don't think that, we talk enough about that in the fact that, like, hey, listen, I'm a woman. I've got one less rib. I'm like doing drop off and pick up. I'm building the business. And I think the very first step is honestly, with a lot of people, it's like, take a look at like what you are doing, what you're producing as a whole in an entire day or an entire week. If you write it down, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm still standing at 8:00 at night. You're like, it's just,
it's almost like a gratitude practice, but really looking at what you accomplished that day.
Right. It's an accomplishment practice, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I work with as an example, I work with one comedian who we raised her and her podcast like downloads from 2,000 to like 160,000 in 7 months. Yeah, it's huge, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, how so? Was that supporting her with what, like social media and different kind of strategy, or what kind of support did you provide her or him? Her, I think you said.
Yeah, her. So we did social media strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent like a lot of time looking at what were the different strategies for finding success in the different platforms,
mm-hmm.
and then we take a look at what is her end goal, what's your end goal, and then what do we need to do to reach that. So, there's many first steps, but I also like to say to her, and other people, and she's, looking at how can I do more, get more, like have more, blah, 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 right? Like she's continuing the hustle, but it's also like, take a deep breath,
mm-hmm.
like you're doing awesome. You're doing kick butt, so let's acknowledge that too.
One of the things I know is also a focus for you, for your clients, is developing multiple revenue streams for them. And this is whether it's you're supporting a business owner, a celebrity, a stay-at-home mom. How important is it for us to look at that too? And not from a perspective of course, just doing more for the sake of doing more, but sort of really empowering ourselves to have multiple streams of revenue coming in.
I think multiple revenue streams is truly where and how we can find our balance and our freedom, because just to make things easier, when you have multiple revenue streams, then you have the diversity. So if there is an algorithm change that your business doesn't blow up. And then like where I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation is the hardest thing to do is to get your first customer or to get somebody to buy. But once they buy, they want to be with you and like you. So then so then there's pieces to upsell. Where and how can you continue the customer client relationship and, continue to offer value, continue to, support them, but also in a way that's, monetarily beneficial to you. So it's a win-win all around.
Who would you say is your ideal customer? Who are the type of people that you work with through your company now?
My company, so I work with a lot of celebrities and high net worth individuals, and then I also, on one segment of my business, and then I also work with power women in the making, right? Mm-hmm. And she doesn't have to quite be the hustler, because you might not just know or have the information on how to. But my ideal is absolutely the woman who's like, just don't hold me back.
What would you say that entrepreneurship has taught you about yourself as a woman?
Oh, I can do anything.
There you go. That's right. So in closing, Ashleigh, if you think over your life and career and you had the chance to thank only one person whose support was critical to you personally or professionally, who would that be and what would you say?
Oh, my mother, that's for sure. My mother was born in that like Mad Men era where she was like supposed to be a secretary and that just never was on her plan. And so my life lesson was always, you can do anything. And you saw how naturally that came out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I would say thank you.
Excellent. So tell us now how we can support you. I'll have links, of course, to everything as we talked about, but tell everyone listening so they can hear it and know how to get in touch with you.
Well, I think my biggest goal now, and as my business is evolving, is to do exactly what your podcast is doing as well, is to support women entrepreneurs.
Yay!
And yes, exactly. I mean, we've got this right in the palm of our hands here. And I think if you wanted to support me and check out further things that I'm doing, I think the best way to do that is you could go to thepowersquadproject.com and sign up for the email and participate and, let me know what else you need from support, what's missing. And yeah.
Great. Thepowersquadproject.com.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Ashleigh, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I know we had to move things around today, so thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Now, before you go, what's a parting piece of advice from you to our listeners about anything?
Parting piece of advice is just remember you're doing a great job.
Yes, and I love the accomplishment practice. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
Instead of beating yourself up for what you didn't do.
Right?
Sort of like,
if you write down for one day, like, I woke up and, I checked Facebook and I showered and I ran here and I did this. If you write down for one day, what?
Showering is a big deal some days. You're like, oh, shoot, I didn't shower today. If you have a home office, really not to be gross, but...
I ate well today. I talked to my girlfriend. I talked my mom off the wall,
Right. Exactly. Ashleigh, thank you so much. Hold on for just a minute.
Thank you.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Ashleigh. For more information and to get in touch with her and to see the resources that she mentioned in this episode, be sure to go to supportissexypodcast.com and just go to the search icon and type in Ashleigh, which is spelled Ashleigh, Ashleigh. Type Ashleigh, her show notes page will pop up with everything there, links for you, and all that good stuff. Also, if you're enjoying the podcast, if this is your first time listening or you've been here time and again, I appreciate you, but I would love for you to make sure that two things. You subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. We're here for you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Also, if you do love it, please leave a review. It helps the show, keeps us moving, keeps the attention coming, keeps the good vibes coming. Leave a review. Let me know what you think. I always say I love a 5-star review, but any feedback is appreciated. So wherever you're listening, on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you're listening, leave us a review, subscribe to the podcast so I can make sure that I connect with you all the time, every time we have something new to offer you. All right. So again, thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate you. And now You know what to do. Go out there and create something sexy. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.